Things you should never say to an airplane pilot. No one wants their pilot to get angry when flying the plane. Below is a collection of phrases that sounds like nails on a chalkboard to an airplane pilot. Most of the utterances contains an underlying insult that causes the pilot to mutter for hours. If you work in the industry and have been on the receiving end of one of these, you know exactly what I mean. This video will tell you about some of the most common phrases and sentences that one must avoid using when on an airplane. Sometimes, knowingly or unknowingly, people pass comments that tends to hurt the other person. It might be manageable in a normal scenario, but annoying your pilot is not what you want. Of course, most of the remarks or inquiries are benign and have no malicious intent. They result from an underlying ignorance of the industry and are not meant to be offensive. I recommend biting your tongue before making one of these blunders and rephrasing the inquiry for your landlubbers, or better yet, using the onboard Wi-Fi to Google the solution. During a landing or takeoff, don't say anything to the pilot. Those are the busiest portions of every flight, and your pilot must focus. Below 10,000 feet, several airlines insist on a septic cockpit. Only business flight-related communications, the shorter the better. The sole exception is reporting other planes, especially if you are on your side of the aircraft and out of sight of your pilot. Then your pilot will undoubtedly want to know about other aircraft. What flight path do you take? This one perplexes me. Although it's the most often asked question, this appears to be a throwback to the railway's golden period, which has already passed over 100 years when trains could only travel where the rails brought them. An airplane, on the other hand, does not have this restriction. A mile of runway will whisk you away to any place globally. Of course, they want to know where you fly, short flights, domestic or international. However, the inquiry might contain an unintentional insult, the suggestions being that the faster the hop, the less of a pilot you are. If you place me in first class, I'm sure the need to vomit will go away. You didn't pay for the first class, so you won't get it. No matter how many empty seats there are or how many threats you make, your only opportunity is if you are a member of an elite mileage club. If not, forget about it. So stop whining. You are irritating everyone else in the steerage. Do you want to be a pilot or a co-pilot? It's not so much the questions as it is the implicit insult, as it is with the most of the questions on this list. To begin with, the name co-pilot conveys a deceptive implications that one is a pilot in training or an apprentice. Everyone in that cockpit is fully trained, qualified, and experienced in the spacecraft's command. They have all of the necessary flight qualifications and experience. The captain is in power solely because they have more company seniority, not necessarily greater experience than the other fully trained pilots in the cockpit. Do you want to work for one of the large airlines someday? Almost every professional pilot aspires to fly for the biggest, best, most global airlines for the highest income and status, and fly the greatest toys. But we're all at different stages of our careers, making our way up the corporate ladder, and we're all at the mercy of this volatile industry. We're either on our way to our desired destinations, or we have been stuck where we are owing to the fate and economic vagaries beyond our control. Was it your food, by the way? During each of their 5 trips to the restroom, your window seatmate will consistently make the above remark while carrying a 2-liter bottle of water. We are talking about a flight of 60 minutes. Lavatory lizard, for whatever reasons, will not wait for you or your middle seatmate to get out of the way. Instead, he climbs over and ultimately settles on your brand new footwear. Next time, inform them that they could have secured an aisle seat for the price of economy-sized bottle of water. Listen, Captain, I believe your demeanor stinks. Although pilots are no longer compensated royally, you can be sure that every one of them is still the king of the cockpit. So pick a quarrel with them at your peril. Just ask the flight attendant who ventured to flight with such a monarch earlier this month on a journey from Sao Paulo to Chicago. The flight was rerouted to Miami, and the offending staff member was allegedly thrown from the plane. So, those autopilots essentially fly themselves, correct? Autopilots are highly advanced devices. They have an extraordinary ability to fly from here to Timbuktu. Yes, just like a robot vacuum cleaner that you can control to clean every inch of your carpet. But don't dare move the furniture. Autopilots are essentially 3D cruise control. They can process, but not think. Is this product safe to fly in? If it weren't, none of us would be here. The airline would be bankrupt, and there would be no airline industry. Have you taken care of all of your insurance requirements? I believe insurance salesmen are good individuals, but please resist the urge to preach the captive audience. Never questions, Who will look after your family if something happens to you? A worried flyer can misinterpret that. Do you want to put a stop to the conversation? State, I work for the IRS. Disregard it. Some pilots I've heard never turn off the belt up sign. Some pilots leave the seatbelt sign illuminated even when it is not required, but this is not the norm. Furthermore, turbulence might appear out of nowhere and without notice. That insane shaking might damage you greatly if you're not belted up. Why take the risk? Maintain the tightness of your belt. Do you have any idea who am I? This is the only technique to turn everyone against you, but unfortunately, those who utilize it have the sensitivity of Simon Cowell. Still, try this quick retort. One of my colleagues believes she overheard a customer uttering this famous statement to a flight attendant who responded with a nice grin and the word, "You are correct. I have no idea who you are, but first, let's look at your ticket. I'm confident we'll discover the solution there." You're not old enough to be a pilot. Ma'am, you've got me. I'm a McD burger flipper and the airline is pulling a horrible trick on you. This implied insult contradicts the years of training and hundreds of hours of flight time accumulated by your pilot. Whether they have 3 or 4 stripes on their shoulder boards, you can bet they earn every one of them. This statement serves as a running gag for DC and Alan's main characters in The Last Bush Pilots. I've never really heard it, but I've read it in the shocked expressions of my passengers for 35 years, and I still do. For some reasons, the traveling public assumes that all pilots are elderly grandfathers born in the 1950s. Why you should not ask these things to an airplane pilot? Some of the most prevalent phrases and statements should be avoided when flying. The majority of the remarks or inquiries are harmless and have no evil intent. They are not intended to be insulting and stem from a fundamental lack of knowledge about the sector. I advocate biting your tongue and rephrasing the questions for your landlubbers before committing one of these blunders. Every professional pilot wishes to fly for the largest, best, most worldwide airlines, earn the most money and status, and pass the best toys. But we're all at the different phases of our careers, climbing the corporate ladder, and we're all at the mercy of this fragile sector. If you are a member of an exclusive mileage club, this is your one chance. Otherwise, forget it. Autopilots are essentially 3-dimensional cruise controls. They can process information but not think. Some pilots leave the seatbelt indicator lighted even when they are not obligated to, although this is not the standard. With that, we have come to the end of the video. Is there anything else that you would like to add on this video? If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you must do so. I am certain that you will enjoy the content that we make. Also, kindly share the video with all of those that you think will enjoy it. Thank you.